All right, before we run any ads, I am going to help everybody not get fired while we deal with the aftermath of former President Donald Trump's attempted assassination. That coming up on this week's episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings.
Before we get started with today's show, I just want to remind you that you can save 10% on your order with Symphony of Balloons, a luxury balloon company that also offers a 360 camera. Just simply mention you heard about them on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings with Uncomfortable Conversations. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. The show is brought to you by B. Waters Productions. Folks, we saw something the other day that either, I would say, continually divided the United States. We saw footage, aftermath, almost immediately, of former President Donald J. Trump getting shot at during a Trump rally. Now, we know he is attempting to regain the presidency of the United States. And there's no secret, there's a lot of people who are not fans, and there are people who are fans. Unfortunately, when you reveal which side of the coin you fall on, there's often a division of hate. There's a division of prejudgment. If you hear somebody say they're a Trump supporter, usually that means there's an automatic dislike, there's an automatic disdain for that person. You see how they think. I don't remember that if you heard somebody say they was a George Bush supporter. Um, but I will say I do remember if you heard somebody say they did not like Barack Obama, then there was an issue, right? If you say I'm not a fan of President Obama, you automatically had that. Well, what type of person this is? So we unfortunately kind of in the same realm. But Donald Trump, there was footage to show he was doing his he's getting everybody rallied up. He's talking about, he's campaigning. And unfortunately, you heard a sound, saw people jump down, saw him jump down, and he came back up. Secret Service took him down. You saw some people immediately pull out their phones. And then we saw him come up and it was like, oh, Donald Trump has been shot. He's shot in the ear. You saw the blood. You saw at the end now, you saw him raise his fist. And some people say it was in defiance. So a lot of what I saw on social media Saturday, hours after this happened, was don't get fired trying to get retweets. And I remember thinking, so here's a pet peeve of mine as a podcaster and usually as a live streamer. I hate when people tell the audience not to do something. It happens in wrestling all the time, right? Podcasters get on, they tell wrestlers, fans, do not stalk wrestlers at the airport. Do not stalk wrestlers after the shows. The reason why I don't like it is because 99 times out of 100, the person you're talking to isn't watching that show or listening to that show. That's not usually they're not in the target audience, right? That part of the IWC falls in a different realm. So with this situation with Donald Trump, I'm like, yeah, it's possible that because it's on Twitter and everybody's on Twitter, people are going to see that. But for the most part, I'm like, man, if you gonna get a joke off, you're gonna get a joke off. So after sitting on this much days, I said, wow, there's a lot of theories out there. So it was revealed that the damage came not from the bullet, but from remnants of the glass, right? And I said, "Oh." So then we saw him do the Republican National Convention, and we saw him wear something over that. You also saw 50 Cent play Many Men, and he was singing it, he was performing it, but he had the meme that we've all seen of the Get Rich or Die Trying album cover with Donald Trump's face over his, and I was like, "Wait, is 50 really doing this?" So I thought that was funny, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "You know what? What I think people need to do is you have to create a safe space. You have to create that group chat that doesn't leak with some trusted people." I saw Kaz tweet, you know how much like something along the lines of, you know who your real friends are because they're the ones sending you memes. You know, a lot of people are judged on your retweets. We could put retweets aren't endorsements, but folks, that's the biggest lie. Cause you could retweet something that say, look at this shit. You can retweet something just to support somebody. You know, I know a few people who will tweet stuff and say, "Hey, can I get some retweets?" And there'll be people who never watch anything. I could have gone on videos and said, "The earth is flat." Now, if somebody else retweeted, now people will say, "Oh, but you retweet," because that's always the case, right? Before likes were not public, we saw people get judged on their likes, especially during the 2020 and 2016 elections. If you saw somebody and they might not be vocal, but you see them liking all of this Trump stuff, you say, "Oh, okay." There was a executive for the Houston Rockets who had a whole bunch of porn in his likes. So, my instruction is how to not get fired. 1, read but do not react. You don't have to react to everything you see. You don't have to reply, you don't have to retweet, but read but do not react. And if you feel that you need a reaction, open up a notes section on your phone. That's number 2. Write it all there. And 3, have a safe space. Have a safe space. Send it to your group chats. Laugh at it with your group chats. You know, I think what's so funny is we always see Black Twitter doesn't take anything serious. You always see that trending whenever there's a tragedy, and I think most of the time it's more of a coping mechanism, right? Now, if it's I ain't gonna say it's always a tragedy, but if it's something like bad news, let's say, like for instance, when Hulk Hogan, whom we talk about soon, was outed because of some racist things he said. You saw a lot of funny tweets. Then you saw people retweeting Booker T and saying Booker T knew all along. You know, the other night during the MLB All-Star game, the singer, as I get her name, the country music singer, Ingrid Andress. I hope I said that right. She did not sound good. She didn't sound good at all. And we saw a bunch of memes. You know, when Fergie did it a few years ago at the NBA All-Star game, there was a lot of "woof." You know, there was a lot of memes. There was the Draymond Green reaction. So, I say to my fellow Americans, as I use that term loosely, think before you retweet and be sure, have a safe space and a group chat. I think that always helps. So, I brought up MLB All-Star game. Shout out to the American League. Let's throw an applause. Yes. Shout out to the American League. Another victory. 5-3. The only time you'll see the Orioles and Yankees fans unite. But during the home run derby, they brought on, Ingrid Andress. It was bad. And I don't really like criticizing a lot of people singing because if anybody knows, I can't sing. I'm wrong. I do criticize people singing because if you can't sing, you shouldn't. Because I can't. I see it in church all the time. People who have no business leading songs always want to be the first ones to the microphone. Trust me. Um, but the thing that I did not like was that not only she admitted to being intoxicated and she said she would go to rehab, but it was like, well, I hear it's fun. And I'm like, so if Beyonce would have said the same thing, everybody would have said, oh, she's not taking this seriously. She comes singing while she's drunk and then just goes, yeah, yeah, if there was an apology. But then it would have been like, oh, well, I hear rehab is fun. Ha ha ha. I'll let y'all know how rehab is. I hear it's super fun. That wasn't cool. You love the country so much. Singing she needs to be held accountable. Recovering homeschooler, she has in her bio on X. But, somebody said, "Are you 32 years old? You have some real growing up to do, and maybe too late. Done with this." It was just unacceptable. You have an opportunity that so many people would kill for to sing a national anthem at a baseball stadium, a home run derby on national television, and you come in drunk, checking yourself in a facility. I understand people need help, but there needs to be some accountability. Who let her get on stage? You know? And then they say, I'll let y'all know how rehab is. I hear super fun. It just sounded sarcastic. So that's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But moving on, ESPN's top 100 professional athletes of the 21st century. I don't like this list. I don't like it at all. Now, how do you say who's the greatest athlete, right? First of all, is it valid if it's not Serena Williams? The fact that she got to a Grand Slam event while she was pregnant, put her career whole. Nobody else could do that. But the biggest issue, and I'm not going to go into it further because I'm going to have a special guest, a special someone who I'm going to talk about this with. The biggest thing is there are no WWE superstars or any professional wrestlers. How is that not possible? They're athletes. Dusty Rhodes said, I may not be the way the athletes of today supposed to look, but they are athletes. I can almost guarantee that there's a bigger risk each time, more of a bigger risk when they put their bodies on the line than when anybody else. And to go out there and you have to bump, you have to run, that's athleticism. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I like to know the reason. And don't give me, oh, it's predetermined. Don't give me that. It's just unfortunate. I mean, wrestlers are winning Emmys. So
It's me, Queen PR, one half of those wrestling girls, and welcome back to another episode of Where Wrestling Meets Pop Culture. And this is the show where you find out who the current Up Down champion is. This is not the show where we speculate when Mercedes is returning to WWE. This is not the place for rumors and innuendo. This is the show where you find out where all your wrestlers are up to outside of the ring. One of my favorite couples, Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. We knew that Bianca and Montez were filming a reality show with Hulu. I just have to have a moment for the It family.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support this podcast by wearing a t-shirt, whether it's the one that says breaking through glass ceilings or the one that says no ceilings above success, simply go to foryourwear.com. Also, you can support some of your other favorite podcast and content creators, including Those Wrestling Girls, Seahawk, and the Wrestling Club. And you can support some of your favorite independent wrestlers, including Jay Bougie, Trisha Dora, Chaz the Don. Shoot, all the Pure Ignorance is on there. So go on foryourwear.com, go under personalities, you'll find Brian H. Waters, and buy a t-shirt. And remember, I'll give you a shout out on the show.
Are you in the gym every week? Are you looking to kind of keep yourself cool while you work up a nasty sweat? Well, I got the best thing for you. Cooling bands, bandanas, cooling towels, and so much more. Go to Vertical Athletics, get your favorite team in MLS or MLB, or guess what? Now they have a custom option so you can upload your own logo and you can save 10% at checkout when you enter the code Brian H. Waters. Go to verticalathletics.com, use the code Brian H. Waters to save 10% on some of your best cooling gear. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan never misses a chance, brother. Now, I've been very vocal. I'm a Hulk Hogan fan, right? I grew up. He's the reason that I fell in love with. However, he does a lot of dumb shit. He does. And apparently, he let an influencer go because of her race. Now, he had a brand ambassador, and she was Essence Janai or Janae, sorry. Essence Janae, she was an influencer. She was an ambassador for his Real American Beer. She's a black woman. Took photos with him. But then she said, and I'm assuming that, she probably signed up. They had the event. He went there. Text message that they told her that you didn't do anything wrong. In fact, you did great, but the client wants to cancel the events for the rest of the week. Said, what happened? Why they take me on events? Are they completely canceled? Yes. And then we saw he had events the next day, all white ambassadors. Yeah, I can't defend that one, buddy. I know a lot of people thought I was going to say, well, maybe this and no, Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea. That's not Hulk Hogan. And people just make the assumption that they all the same, whatever. We're talking real life here. That's why I said Terry Bollea. Such a hypocritical move. He gets on all of these Christian programs talking about how God has changed his life, the new wife he's gotten, and everything. But then cancels the contract of a black woman. Now, I don't think he put out a statement. Pretty sure he didn't. Um, if he did, right? Okay, we do. Sorry. There was a statement. Spokesperson for the beer brand reached out to 411 Mania. We are deeply troubled by the false rumors circulating on social media that a brand ambassador hired by a third-party marketing agency was terminated by Hulk Hogan for racial reasons. Real American Beer simply terminated its short-term relationship with a third-party marketing agency. Hulk Hogan was not involved in that decision. Race was not a factor. We are in communication with an agency to attempt to clear misunderstanding and information and believe this false statement will be withdrawn. This is very, very interesting. Usually, they do go through third parties a lot of times, right? I would be interested to know from the influencer, what's the follow-up on this? Did this person get another opportunity, because it was it's a bad look. Now, let's see. That's a pinned tweet, you know, and pinned social, obviously. Essence Janae, 20,000 followers on TikTok. I don't see a response, and maybe she's not allowed to talk about it, right? But you don't see a response about this. So maybe it was the agency. You know what I mean? But if I'm Hulk Hogan, which I'm not, but Terry Bollea, I think that he needs to somehow get a grip and find out everything. Now, yeah, a lot of times it's okay, let my people handle it. But the thing is, there's a reputation out there. There's a reputation that Hulk Hogan is racist. Terry Bollea is racist. I keep saying Hulk Hogan, right? The video from that came out in 2015, I was one to say, okay, well, that was before Hogan or Bollea was saved and everything. The thing about that day that video came out, instead of getting the hell off of Twitter, he really kept retweeting every photo he had with black people. If anybody remembers, he kept retweeting what he had with black people. I'm like, that makes no sense. Stop. Just stop it. And just to peek behind the curtain, I was gonna edit the parts out where I'm looking for all of this. I was like, no, I'm gonna leave it in. Y'all can see me do real research in real time. But upon my research, learning that it was an agency, wasn't he had nothing to do with it. It's just not a good look. And somebody on his team should have held Terry Bollea accountable for that. Hey, you just fired a black ambassador. We're not using that agency no more. Maybe we should have some diversity with our ambassadors if we're using a different agency. And this is going to look bad. Hogan, Bollea's way of correcting that was, oh, let's celebrate the third anniversary of Hogan's hangout, and I'm gonna take a picture with my black security. As if that's a better look. Of course, you want big black people to protect you. You know what I mean? So hopefully he'll get it right. You know, Yes, the answer to your question. I am a fan, as brother fan from Black Wrestling calls them, of Say Your Prayers and Vitamins, of prayers and vitamins. I am a fan of his, of Hulk Hogan. I don't hate Terry Bollea. I just think a lot of stuff he is he just don't think. Or he doesn't know how to cover it up. Let's just call it for what it is. You know, you again the we realize you got saved, you changed your life around. I love every bit of that. Getting baptized again, saving somebody from a car accident, I get all of that, but you have to live and walk in that way. Lead with love for everybody, not just quote unquote black people on a certain level or substance level of or status. So that's all I have to say about Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, brother. Let's move on. I see a lot of people upset about Angel Reese's video. Dudes, calm down. So there's been this notion, right? Ever since the WNBA players have been making more money, there's been this thing that, oh yeah, they're gonna flu me out. We trying to get flued out. Guys been making jokes and truths about that, right? And obviously that comes from, you know, the fact that the guys in the NBA always will fly out models or random ladies they meet on Instagram, have a good weekend with them, show them a night out on the town. So the reverse is okay. Well, shoot, since the women making all this money, maybe we can get flued out too. Angel Reese made it perfect clear. No, I ain't flying out nobody. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was funny. She said it. You know what I mean? I was like, this is hilarious. But what was so crazy was the amount of people who was upset. I'm like, y'all really like a bunch of dudes. Oh, this is screaming broke and this, that, and the other. Guys, why are we doing this? Y'all really mad that this woman saying she's not flying out no guys? She's not spending her hard-earned money on you. You know what I mean? And I get the double standard because if a man of W Paul George, I think he got married, didn't he? But let's just say if Jason Tatum, Paul George, or somebody said, "No, I ain't flying out none of these women," we would have, the women on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's cheap, he broke, this, that, and the other." I think that everybody just need to get a grip. It's not that serious. And if Angel Reese don't want to spend her money on no dude, so be it. More than likely, if she do flew a guy out, if she flies a guy out, we ain't gonna know about it, you know? So, but Angel Reese, keep doing what you're doing, Baltimore Shorty. Um, you know, Congratulations on making it to the All-Star game and continuing to make waves and push the WNBA game forward while making people uncomfortable while doing it. Speaking of sports, Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is leaving Fox Sports 1 at the end of his contract. That he will no longer be on Undisputed. Congratulations to Skip. Let's give him a congratulations. Congratulations to him. But you know what was funny and unfortunate more so? There was a statement from ESPN that said, "We good." That they do not really wish to bring Skip Bayless back, and they wish him well on his future endeavors. And I'm like, wow. Now, this may be controversial. You don't get the face of the franchise the way that you get him right now without Skip Bayless. Now, I understand all relationships don't gotta come back, but to me, I feel like this could have been left unsaid. Did this need to be said publicly? Did they immediately have to put out a statement that, yeah, we're not interested in Skip Bayless? He was the anchor and the bridge to bringing this new style of television that we all love. That's quite frankly ESPN's highest rated program and most watched program, right? They said that, and I get it. He had his issue with Shannon Sharp, but Shannon Sharp will even say one bad day or a couple months won't ruin all the what's 5 to 7 years. And I mean, I don't know what it was like to work with him. I've been vocal that I would see Skip in when I worked at ESPN as a production assistant in 2013 to 15. I would see Skip in the bathroom right before first take, doing his own makeup, and he was always a nice person. The first time I actually met him, I was probably 3 months in, and we was going to a meeting, and he was coming out of that particular building, and he like told me like, "No, you go ahead." So my point is he never carried himself like he was too good to talk to anybody. I got a chance to talk to him about my love for the Ravens and at that time Cowboys and how I would get criticized. Shout out to my boy Aaron Hilton for liking both teams. But the thing about, like I said, with Skip, like, no, I didn't work with him directly. Like, never worked on the show with him, never had to create content for him or with him. But I recognize people how they treat me. And he was always nice. So it's just unfortunate they put it out there like that, but I know he ain't hurting for no money. Skip is a millionaire, multimillionaire. Congratulations to him. If we don't, he'll probably keep the Skip Bayless show, and that's probably how we'll get our Skip takes. But I mean, I tend to want to hear what he have to say about things. We know that the gimmick is he loved Tim Tebow, he loved the Dallas Cowboys, hate LeBron James. Some points I'm like, all right, we know you're working us. He would be perfect with professional wrestling. Skip Bayless would be, we always talk about Stephen A. Smith in pro wrestling. Skip Bayless would be perfect in WWE. Cause you imagine him doing a debate show talking about the bloodline. Imagine Skip Bayless loving Solo Sokoa right now and him telling you why this is the best bloodline you've ever seen. Or imagine Skip Bayless talking about Damian Priest and criticizing Damian Priest's run as WWE World Champion. This would be fun. So, I mean, I don't think we ever get there, but it's fun to fantasy book right here on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings with Uncomfortable Conversations. All right, so now before we get out of here, let's end today's show on something that I came across on Instagram that's hilarious. All sports culture. They got names, the craziest names in sports history. This is what happens when there's like all-star breaks during seasons where like this week is always like that week. Well, we got the NBA playing basketball, the players doing the getting ready for the Olympics. But usually growing up, this was always that time where it was always like, wait, what are y'all talking about? But shout out to my boy Charles Nyanga. I hope I said that right. But he sent me this, and it's all sports culture, right? Craziest names. Y'all ready? Here we go. Jungle Cummings, Dick Paradise, Pete Lecoq, Lucius Pousset, Mobility, that's Moh, Bility, Steve Sharts, Composy, Stubby Clap, Lil Stoner, and Kyle Sackrider. So somebody even put Dick Bucket's not on here is wow. I think they didn't want to put. Oh, y'all remember what was his name? I want because somebody put General Booty. But I feel like yeah, that was his name. General Booty played for Oklahoma. Uh, and there was also one that played for was there's Josh Booty who plays for the LSU, but there was also John David Booty, who was a quarterback for I believe he was Matt Leinart's backup. And he actually went to the NFL. He played for the Vikings 2008. So but yeah, those I mean you giving the names and y'all may remember Noah Kanega. His name was spelled N um Knigga. So he's out there. Um, but yeah, these names, Dick Clapper. It's funny when you look at the comments section because you start seeing all the funny stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of these funny names out there. I thought it was hilarious. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week's episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. Make sure you check out the WCW Who Killed WCW review that Miss Queen PR my lovely, beautiful significant other. And I did a couple weeks ago. That's right here on this channel. Shout out to everybody who's watching. If you're a wrestling fan and you're also a fan of documentaries, check that out. You'll also see more stuff from us too coming soon. Make sure you also check out the latest edition of WWE Meets Pop Culture, which she did, which is very good. Learn about John Cena attending one of the richest people in the world's wedding. So make sure y'all checked out. But until the next time, folks, remember, do not let anyone place a ceiling above your success. So long, everybody. Are you a podcaster who is looking to share clips from your show in the simplest way possible? Well, I have the best solution, and that's Opus Clip. Opus Clip allows you to take the link to your show, upload it, and then they will clip off some of the best moments. And it allows you to edit it, change the captions, change the colors, and they also give you a viral score so you know which clip can potentially generate more buzz for your show. So if you're looking to do that, click the link in the bio, sign up for Opus Clip, and go viral with some of the best content from your show.
Podcasters and gamers, we all know it can be intense. We're talking, we're getting hyped, we're passionate. Sometimes we need a boost. Well, you can get that by getting Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is the #1 supplement for podcasters and gamers, and they have tons of different flavors, including Strawberry Burst, Tropical Breeze, and Cotton Candy. And you can save 10% by putting in the code BrianH at checkout. So go to rogueenergy.com and enter the code BrianH to save money.